Are you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Holy moly, this hair is crazy. Hi. Benji, come help my hair. He's my barber. Hi. Happy Thursday. What day is it? May 19th. Who knows what day it is? Do the days matter anymore, everyone? Do they? Hi. If you don't know, which I'm sure you do, otherwise, why would you be here? Oh, maybe because you're gigantic fans of Tanya Pinkins, Tony winner, and maybe you're gigantic fans of Michael Corbett, Emmy-winning superstar? Yes, welcome to the Roundtable. My name's Robert Bannon, and I'm so excited to have you here. Hi, my friends. I see my friend Abby. I wanted to shout out Abby. Abby's in Birmingham, United Kingdom, England, right? So Abby's there. She just finished her master's, last assignment for her master's today. She is not going to walk. She went over it earlier. She's going to save the money on her cap and gown and hopefully go see a show. So Abby, congratulations. Congratulations, Abby. New master of the universe. Abby, you're a master of the universe. Hello, Miss Margaret. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Christine. Hi, Janelle. I know Janelle. Janelle is my friend, and we're going to talk about Detroit in a minute. Hey, everybody. I love that Christine, you guys have somehow named us the Roundtablers, and it's really cute. It's like Fanalo. It's like, it's my moniker that you guys have created. So Night Owl Chad, hello. Who are you? Tell us all about yourself. Do we know you? Are you new to the show? What brings you here to the crazy roundtable? I hope you join us now because it's nice to meet you and thank you for being vocal. We love people who talk on this show. I love people who talk on this show. And speaking of people who talk, two icons are here. Tanya Pinkins is here. All My Children, Caroline or Change, the new movie Red Pill 2020, which you can watch right now. And also Michael Corbett. So Michael Corbett is my buddy. And Michael Corbett is on a million different soap operas through the years. And then he goes on to host Extra, Mansions and Millionaires, wins a couple of Emmy Awards, and now is the executive producer of all the Tyler Henry stuff. So if you were watching Tyler Henry on all that, Life After Death on Netflix, or if you're watching Tyler Henry on Hollywood Medium, Michael Corbett of Search for Tomorrow, Michael Corbett of Ryan's Hope, Michael Corbett is the producer. Well, Night Owl Chad, thank you, Lisa Rodrigo, for bringing Tanya Pinkins on our show. Secondly, Night Owl Chad, thank you for being a part of the Search for Tomorrow group. And thank you for being here. I'm warning you, Chad, I'm from New Jersey. I am crazy. And you are walking into a tornado that's called the Roundtable. So thank you for being here. We are... It's the truth. We are going to start the show right now. Here's my week in review. So this week, I have to give a very special shout out to someone whom, when I was first starting my career as a school teacher, my school teacher days, I was a substitute teacher at Horace Mann, which is the school I work in now. When I walked into the school in New Jersey, I walked in and there was a security guard who came up to me and said, "My name is Yaya Pat." And she told me that she wanted me to call her Yaya. Well, fast forward years later, someone says to me that it's just a tornado. And yes, we are yes, we're here, and welcome Chad, and yay Abby. And Abby, the freedom is wonderful. Okay, so I go in and I tell Yaya Pat, and she, years later, I see her and I say, "You're Yaya Pat," and she says, "You must know my grandson because no one calls me Yaya Pat unless my grandson." And I said, "I don't know your grandson, but you told me to call you Yaya." So she said, "Well, you must be special, and we've just been people." And she turned 90. So I want to give a big birthday hello and happy birthday to the one and only Miss Yaya Pat. The school gave her a surprise, big giant surprise birthday party here. The school here. Here's Miss Yaya Pat. The school gave her a big giant birthday. So I want to wish my Yaya Pat a super duper happy birthday. She makes my life a little bit better, and she comes to so many of my shows and everything. So she was at my show in New York. So if you're at a show and you see this lady there, that's Yaya Pat. So you're going to have to say hey to her for sure. Secondly, this week I got the chance to go see, speaking of people who've been on our show, yes, look, all of the people that were sending love to her, she's going to be so mad at me for talking about her. Yeah, Miss Margaret, it was great because when she came to see me sing at a Christmas show, and I told everyone, this is Miss Pat. Miss Pat used to work in an airline before and she was like, "Will you just shut up and sing?" She can't handle the attention. So I love her, and I'm so grateful for her, and it was so nice to celebrate her. Also this week, I got to spend time and see the most amazing show. She was on our show, fifth week of the show. Ann Morrison of Merrily We Roll Along. There's me and Annie. She was so great. She came on the show with Lonnie Price, and we talked all things Merrily We Roll Along. She talked very openly and honestly about Stephen Sondheim. She talked very openly and honestly about her relationship with Hal Prince and what happened after the show. And I got to go see her at 54 Below this week and say hey to her. Jason Alexander was there. Some of the original cast of Merrily We Roll Along was there. And I talked to her about Tanya Pinkins being here because Tanya is from the original cast of Merrily We Roll Along. So it's a small world after all, isn't it? As it always is. So congrats to Annie. What a great show. You want to see a clip? Can I show you a clip of the show? Take a peek at this.
Producer, I set out the one act. I started the story. He said to come see me. I dropped out of college. I met this musician. I'm playing They're doing my one act. I'm working for Red Book. I rewrote the ballad. I finished the story. We started rehearsals. I threw out the story and been the musician. I moved into popular science. We're opening doors, singing. Look who's here. Beginning to sail on a time. That's faraway shores. Heading the ferry near. We haven't a thing to fear. We haven't got time. How's it sounding good? You've done 1 minute ring. Hammer heaven. Hi, Mary. Sing them out. I think I got a.
She was so good. It could go on forever. I just wanted to show you a piece because she's brilliant and it was so much fun. So thank you, Annie. It was good to see you and my dear friend, and I appreciate you. Yes, Christine, you did sit with Pat. You did sit with Pat at the Green Room show. You did talk about a fun table. It was Yaya Pat, my ex-wife, Christine Clifton, and my goddaughter. That's a whole separate show. Poor night owl Chad has just walked into that whole sentence confused. But don't worry. We'll catch you up, Chad. We'll catch you up. It's time for... So it's ridiculous. This is time for the shameless. Because I'm shameless. Well, I have a lot to talk to you about. Thank goodness we updated robertbannon.com. I'm so incredibly grateful to everybody who has been showing me love, listening to my music. My album is called Unfinished Business, and I've been very lucky to be able to do shows in Jersey, Maine, Boston, LA, and New York in the upcoming months. I'm super duper grateful to be we're everywhere and anywhere. And June is a busy month because June ends up being Pride. And as somebody who prides himself on telling his truth and being here, I have a whole bunch of events that I'd like to quickly go over with you. And if you'd like to come join me and celebrate your Pride, then you can join me and find the information on robertbannon.com. Firstly, in my home state of New Jersey, we'll be doing the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce Gala with RuPaul's Drag Race star Olivia Lux. So if you want to see Olivia Lux, music by DJ Mike Cruz, and Boudoir Le Dieu is all going to be there. I'll be hosting the event. That will be on June 2nd, which means that the roundtable that week will be on June 1st because it's on a Thursday. So we will be doing the roundtable to open Pride. And then I will also be, as I was telling Janelle, that I will be at Delaware Pride. So if you're in the Delaware or South Jersey area or Maryland, you can come to Delaware Pride. Pandora Box from Drag Race is headlining the event, and I will be there as well as all of these amazing performers. So you can see me for a half hour or so do my set of music there in Delaware. And then I'll be back in Jersey to be in Englewood with my good friend Margaret Josephs of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. If you saw me on the show this season singing for her mom, it will be the second year that I get to be a part of Pride in Englewood with my friend Marge. So hang out with the Marge and Mayor Wilds. There's a networking event afterwards. You can have a drink at Blue Moon, come say hello to me, come say hello to Margaret, and whoever else she brings along. I'm sure Lexi and Marge Sr. will be there, and I am grateful to be able to be there as well. And finally, just found out that I will be performing on the 11th at Montclair Pride. So if you're also in New Jersey, it's a big show. Laura Benanti is going to be there. Dylan Burnside is going to be there. Peppermint, who was on our show, is going to be there. And me. So look at God. Who knew? What a month. So we'll be busy, and we will be busy and be excited to be a part of all of that. We have live shows also coming up. I've never performed in Boston, but I will be in Massachusetts at the Brick Box. So if you are somebody who's there, go to robertbannon.com. And I think that's it. Slacking. I know I'm a slacker. But we'll tell you about Pride on this show, Chad, who, the fun, crazy time here. And thank you. I'm excited. I got to see Ann Morrison as well. We will be celebrating Pride for 4 episodes in June. So make sure you join me, Rufus Wainwright, and we'll be here. Angelica Ross from Pose and American Horror Story will be here. Anais Mitchell, who wrote Hadestown, will be here. Brandon Black, who stars in the new Medea movie. On Netflix, Quay Tan, who is on Dear White People and has a brand new miniseries that's coming on Peacock Network with Kevin Bacon. Greg Louganis, a 4-time Olympic gold medal winner, and drag queen who won Queen of the Universe, and more. Matt Gould will be here to talk about Lempicka, and Devin Velez, who is from American Idol. So it's a big old month of pride here. But before we get to that, sheesh, next week, these two little known people starting out in the biz, Michael, right? Michael Feinstein will be here live, ready to talk to you. He'll be here live, and Melissa Manchester, who it's bizarre that I've gotten to speak to her a couple of times. Growing up, we loved her in my house. So two voices that I listened to and inspired me growing up will be here live, and I cannot be more excited. So I will be jumping out of my skin and super nervous, and my hair will be done next week. That's the truth. So lots of big and exciting shows coming up soon. So thank you for all of your love and support. My mom is not watching tonight because my mom is getting honored where she works. She's a first responder at Holy Name Hospital. She's the person you first see when you walk into the hospital, schedules appointments, COVID tests, COVID vaccines, and she's getting honored. So congratulations, Mom, on another year at the hospital. But she always loves when people Venmo. So if you want to support the show, every penny that you said, she already Venmo'd me. My mom Venmos me every Thursday. It's like my allowance. If you want to Venmo at R Bannon, we will make sure that every penny that you send goes to put gas in my car. No, every penny that you send goes to put the show on and promote it and get more eyeballs on it. And look, new people are joining us every single day. So, yes, I am extra caffeinated. I have so much to say, Janelle. You know why? The show goes on for like 16 hours. The last show was 2.5 hours long. I'm not Jim Masters. I love Jim Masters. I'm kidding. But his shows, I was on his show for like 2 hours. I don't have 2 hours worth of things to say. Yes, Mama Rose is going to be honored tonight. So I'm super proud of her. So congrats, Mom, 18 years at that hospital. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa runs a company called All My Promotions, and it's thanks to her that Miss Pinkins is here. So congrats to Lisa for this company and all the great clients that you represent. We're so grateful that you can be here. All right. Look at poor Chad. Thank you. No, I please, we're honored that you're here, and thank you so much. I appreciate you. We'll get to Michael Corbett eventually around the 2-hour mark, unless I move quick. But thank you for the love and support and the Venmo, which always makes me itch. I only had 2 coffees today. Maybe. I'll think about it. I love Melissa too. Melissa is a superstar. She's so great. And Lisa says here she's been 6 years this Saturday that you have the business. So great. So good. Thank you, Ms. Bannon. And yes. And I am not a liar, Janelle. I swear. I had 2 coffees and a Diet Coke and an iced tea. Growing up, I remember this Tony Awards performance for a show called Caroline or Change. And this voice blew me away because it rips your heart out. And if you've ever seen Caroline or Change, what a beautiful, beautiful show and score. And if you're a soap opera fanatic and fan, this amazing talent has done the great work on soaps, on Broadway, on television. And I was so honored that she was going to be here with us tonight. I jumped at Lisa to say, can we please have her? And she so gratefully scheduled Ms. Pinkins' chance to be here. So I'm super excited. I owe you a call. I was in a meeting. And hi, Ellen. Yes, and so are you. Ellen is a frontline worker as well. So everyone apparently misses and loves soaps. I had my principal write me and say, Tanya Pinkins on All My Children was my favorite thing. So, Miss Alonso, everyone that is a fan, if you're a fan of musical theater or you're a fan of the soap operas, we have an icon and a pretty famous one who speaks out her mind about things. We're definitely going to ask her about it. Take a peek at the career, Miss Tanya Pinkins.
And the Tony Award goes to... Tanya Pinkins, Jelly Blast Jam!
Ever since Lucas jumped into our lives, I've just been so off balance. I mean, it's got me on shaky footing with Terrence. You've seen it.
Yeah, but you've worked that out. I mean, what exactly are you worried about?
Timing.
Timing.
Maybe it's all wrong. Tanya Pinkins.
Set her free. Set me free. Don't let my sorrow make evil of me.
We are a majority in this country, and we're gonna win the election.
Do you know what the red pill is? A red pill is someone who infiltrates a group and then destroys them from the inside. This place is spooky.
Take it easy.
You know what, guys? I'm gonna go back tomorrow.
I think we should call the sheriff's office.
What is that? What do we do, Amelia?
We die. But we take some of them with us.
Woo, boy. One of the most amazing, talented performers I've ever witnessed on the Broadway stage. She is quite the actress as well. You've seen her on your favorite soaps, your favorite TV shows, your favorite movies, including an amazing movie that she wrote and directed. You talk about triple, quadruple, I don't know. She's something. Tony winning superstar Tonya Pinkins is here. Hi.
Hi.
It
How
is.
are you, Robert?
I am wonderful, and I'm so excited to speak with you because you are quite the, you are something.
Thank you for those kind words. Thank you so much.
No, there's a voice as someone who tries to sing or has studied singing. There are some voices that are just something extra special, and that is you. So thank you. I'm so interested to know about your journey. I recently had on Anne and Lonnie from Merrily Roll Along. We talked about that experience. I saw you in the documentary that Lonnie made and about that experience. What a introduction to show business.
The best and the worst. Absolutely. It was a great title for the show. Yeah.
You're from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And you studied acting, and you went to a special high school. If I'm performing,
Well, I went to Whitney and Young High School, which really wasn't a performing arts high school, but it was a magnet high school, and so it was, this attempt to balance things racially, economically. There was a school for students who were deaf. It wasn't specifically a performing arts school. Do they call it that? Maybe they call it that.
But yes, I totally get it. And then you go to college at Carnegie Mellon, which is like the musical theater school, and so many amazing performers have come from there. And then you leave because you like booked and busy. Let's go to work.
Yeah, that was kind of like I guess you go, that's your fate. Like you can't plan that or imagine that. That's just like, I guess that was the plan for my fate.
Well, your Broadway career, I mean, is quite, legendary. Your Tony Award, 3 Tony nominations, Carolina Change. I mean, for me, that is when I saw you on stage. That role is a beast, and that is a quite an emotional roller coaster. So what a beautiful job. You're acting. I'm an acting student as well. Musicals sometimes get a bad reputation when you sing. Do you approach a soap opera and a movie and a musical in the same kind of way in terms of the acting perspective?
I think for me, I love musical theater. And what I love most about musical theater and what was important to me when I decided that was what I was going to do was to show that musical theater didn't have to be campy and hokey, that musical theater could be as deep and dramatic as a play. And so I always wanted my work in musical theater to be as full of depth and songs even as full of the depth that anyone would have in a monologue. And when I teach it, that's how I teach it, because that's a style that I like. There are other styles that I enjoy. They're just not the styles that I felt drawn to doing.
Absolutely. Well, I have a little, it's going to block half our face, but this is where it started. For there's the playbills, and there's Jelly's Last Jam, which was the Tony Award winning. There's you winning the Tony, and here's Carolina Change. So it's definitely been a journey. When I speak to soaps, when I'm lucky enough to speak to people who do soaps, you know, All My Children, here's a clip, a picture from All My Children.
No, this is actually from Rashida's Speaking, which was a play I did at, God, I don't even remember the name of that theater company. It was such a bad experience, but we were at the Signature Theater, and that's Diane Wiest.
I was going to say, it looks like Diane Wiest in this picture. I mean, she looks like the mom from The Birdcage. Yeah. Okay. Well, the soap world, can you give us, for people that are artists, can you give us a little bit of the backstage world of how do you get through all those pages? How do you film every single day? That's a grind.
You know, I don't know. It didn't ever seem like a grind to me. I think of it like today, for me to do a self-tape and have to set up the camera and the lights and film myself and act with myself, like, I just like, forget it. I don't want to be an actor. But I think young people growing up where they're doing selfies and they're doing social media, it's like nothing to them. So that's kind of what being on a soap opera was for me. There are people I know who can remember every line from everything they've ever done in their life. I'm not one of those people. Mine is like in and out, in and out. So if there's a picture, like if there's a visual kind of picture to it, which soap operas have, I could get the story. They were never asking you to be letter perfect the way they do on some episodic television. So as long as you were in the groove and the gist of what was going on, you were good. And it was just in and out. And so that's kind of the way I do everything. I'm not going to remember like when it's done. Even when I'm writing, I don't even know what I wrote.
I've been in shows and didn't know the lines as I was doing them. So I
know. We would have this joke that like, if you don't know your lines, you look at somebody else like, it's on you.
I hear that. Before we talk about Red Pill and Women of the Movement, which talk about two projects to talk about. I just want to say that I know the courage. I've read a lot of the writing that you did about the stand that you've taken about equality, about the love-hate relationship that people have with American theater. As a kid growing up, I was so naive to as a very privileged white male perspective. I'd go see shows and just live my best life. And then friends of mine did a show off Broadway, and the theater bought the show and they wrote it and changed the whole show and made it very different. And if you didn't go with the way that they wanted it to go, the show kind of got pushed aside and left for dead. And I know that it takes a lot of courage to stand up to the tried and true ways that things have been done. And thanks to people like you who have really taken a stand and spoken your truth, even when people don't believe you, even when people don't want to see it, it's real. It's real.
Yeah, that's the grind. That's the only grind, because that kind of work, it's martyrdom work. You do the work, you don't get rewarded for the work. That work is work that's for people who come after you.
Well, you've done that. You've made it. You know, when I look at awards or Broadway seasons or television shows, and the little strides that have a long way to go, but those little strides are on the back of people who like you, who have really stood up. So, talk about a legacy. Yeah, Tonys and recordings and all of that and movies are great, but all of the work that's to come is thanks to your sacrifices. So
maybe so. If that's true, I'm grateful for that.
Well, I appreciate it for sure. Okay, I watched Women of the Movement. I watched it. Firstly, is there a more heart-wrenching story. And your relationship and Adrian Warren's relationship on screen, the whole family's relationship. What beautiful nuances and work you guys did together. Here's a picture of the cast of it. How was that experience to take on a role and character in that time? Whew.
It was a privilege, but so hard. I feel that as I'm getting older, I just feel everything so deep, more deeply, and you can't just phone that in. You have to go there and live that. And it was hard, but once again, it's work you're doing for people who are going to come after you to be able to know about something that is in the past, so that they don't forget. So that they don't forget that this work is still being done, and the work never ends, as Shayna Taub says in her new musical Suffs. Like, the work never ends. The work never ends.
Well, it was done in it's such a heartbreaking story, but it was done in such artistically such a beautiful, delicate way. So, I know in real life, I'm a school teacher in New Jersey that teaches 5th and 6th grade. And we touch upon this story, and we've touched upon it, and some of the kids watched it. And for them to have a modern it was
5th graders having watched that. Did they like, whoa, what did they have to say?
What's so amazing is that part of them, it's a whole other universe. They don't understand. And then the other part of them understands on some level and starts to recognize hopefully how they should be. I mean, that's my goal as a teacher. I don't care if you know what president came when and what amendment is in the Constitution. I hope you leave my classroom a little bit of a better person. And I was just saying, I get the privilege of something goes on in the world. 10-year-olds look at me the next day and look at who am I? But work like that is something that they can see and know, we don't want to repeat what's been done.
Are you familiar with a book? It's a crown wreath sonnet by Marilyn Nelson called A Wreath for Emmett Till.
Okay. I haven't read it.
Okay. It's what I gave as gifts to everyone in the cast, but it's perfect for that age group. And it's, it's a sonnet, and it sort of tells this whole story. So that's a really beautiful book. I might have bought all of them up because I got rid of it. And a lot of the copies I got, were library copies that I, gave as gifts, but a beautiful book for children right at their age to get a sense of that. So what is it like to be a school teacher now in this moment where, we're rolling things back?
It's interesting. New Jersey has laxed a lot of rolling things back. It has been interesting. We've home for a year and a half plus. They have a very hard time socializing because, if you're 10 and you haven't been in school since 3rd grade and now you're in 5th grade, those formative years of like the lunchroom and how you behave in school. And we're 93% economically disadvantaged. We're in North Bergen, New Jersey, which is next to Jersey City, like they're 1st generation Americans. So they live in 1-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom apartments, multiple siblings. And they miss school because that's their social time. And it's definitely been we've closed, we've opened, we've closed, we've opened, and we're going to make it. We're almost through with the school year, and we've made it. So
are they masked? Are they not masked?
It's now up to them. It's up to them.
Okay.
It's up to them. And we were told, and we've reinforced the idea that if you wear the mask or you don't, it's that person's personal belief. Like, we're not trying to press the issue. We're not allowed to give our opinion. Same with politics. We do current events on Friday. There's some days where I have to bite my tongue.
What was last week's current event?
Last week's current events was a good one. Last week was a debate question it was a silly one. It wasn't about the main article. They get a school newspaper, a kid's newspaper, and it was about Russia and Ukraine, which they have a lot of questions. I think we all do about why we're doing this, but it was about school lunch. You always go to school lunches. It was about the school lunches and about nutrition and, kids, they have a lot of them get their 2 meals from school. So they want better school lunches is really what it was about. Speaking of, society and politics and the world, you are quite the little creative. you have written, directed, and starred in. Talk about an interesting subject.
Yeah. Yes. Red
That's
Pill.
still right there.
It is, a socio-political horror film. I like the genre of horror because the violence is a little not too real. You know, dramas can just break my heart. So you can be a little campy with the violence in horror, but you also can talk about things that people go, you're ridiculous. Oh, you're so ridiculous. So for me, when 2016 was happening, I just knew how that was going to turn out. Like that was fated. And people treated me with contempt. I mean, I voted one way, but I knew what was going to happen. And I was really scared and hurt that people didn't see that this was inevitable, like that there was no way that 2016 was going to go any other way than it did. And so when 2020 was rolling around, I had a sort of similar sense of what was going to happen. And I was like, I don't want to go through being, dissed. I'll just make a story about it. I'll just make a movie about it. And sure enough, while I was making it, people were like, that is so far-fetched. Oh my God, that's so ridiculous. And then after January 6th, people were like, so did you write this after the election in January 6th? And I was like, no, 2 years before.
It's brilliant because the idea of it under the guise of a horror film is so layered. Like it is a horror film. Reality sometimes is a horror film.
Right? We're living a horror film, and people are like, oh, it's so there's Handmaid's Tale. And I'm like, well, we're living that too. We're living all of that, and it. I just feel like there's an inevitability to what is happening. Like the American world order is coming to an end, and I had this movie, and it was exciting to be the director and writer and to get to put all these things in, and knowing, not everybody's going to get everything, but when someone says, oh, I knew what that was, or I knew it, that is thrilling to know that this vision you had in your head, you actually communicated to someone else. To me, that's why I'm an artist, is to see if these things in my head, I can transmit them to someone else. It's kind of a form of telepathy in a certain sense. You're turning it into a painting or a sculpture, but the thought behind any work of art is much deeper than the object that is the finished piece of art.
For sure. And you've got a stellar all-star cast together. I mean, from Ruben, like you're talking about
icon, just won the Harvard letter of honor, I think, or something, Medal of Honor, and Catherine Irby, who was in Law and Order and The Mighty Ducks, and Catherine Curtin, who's like in 18 to 20 indie movies a year. She's so amazing. Luba Mason, who's on Broadway and Girl from the North Country right now, and Colby Menifee, who is in Fear of the Walking Dead, with Ruben and myself and the boys. A killer cast of amazing people who, that's the wonderful thing about artists, is they're so generous with our time. And so asking these friends to come on and, help me fulfill my dream.
Well, you can get information, and you can find out how you can watch this at redpill2020.com. And
there's a game.
Oh my goodness.
There's a Red Pill game on the website, and this is actually 2.0 because people shut the website, shut down with people playing it. And then people had things that they wanted to happen. And so we did a new version with some other options for people, but it's about you going for an interview to see if you can become a Red Pill. So can you survive the Red Pill interview process? And so, we got the game going. And then I wrote a book about the whole process of making it, Red Pill Unmasked, which is available the Audible version and then Barnes and Nobles. And it's been this incredible creative gift to just keep on creating the Red Pill universe.
Well, it's so exciting. I'm going to watch. I promise I'm going to watch. I'm going to have to send you a message and tell you what I think, because I'm a poli-sci major. Like before I wanted to be an artist, I was all about politics, because if you're not in show business, you might as well be in politics. It's the same thing a lot of the times. And
there's a lot of history in the movie, a lot of history that's unspoken. So when you watch, you write me back and you tell me if you picked up. There's so much history. I'm a total nerd. And so There's everything on that screen has a meaning, and there's a history and a background to it. Everything on the screen.
Well, okay. Well, then I'm really excited. It's gonna be date night, movie night. We're gonna watch Red Pill 2020. And I know you do so much. You're busy and working, whatever. But you teach, you help people. If anyone wants more information from you, if they want to see what you're doing, they can go to your website right here.
Yeah, TanyaPinkins.com. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm fairly active on social media, and I do respond to people, and I love to hear from people and what they think, and it's relationship is everything in this life.
For sure. Well, your career is so amazing because you're really acting, and now you're writing and making movies, and you're singing, and you have done it all. So I am so excited as a fan of yours to see what comes out next. What is next cooking in there? And I know Emmy Awards are coming, and I've never seen a miniseries that deserves more love than what you guys have done. You've won umpteen awards for your film, for Red Pill. So I'm excited. Is there things left that you want to accomplish?
Well, oh gosh, there are lots of things that I want to accomplish, but I also am super excited watching this new generation come up and create a world that I couldn't ever imagine. So I think like my time has passed, but there are things I want to say because I'm still alive and I'm still an artist. So I've been painting a lot, and I'm going to be singing at Little Island. I don't know if you even know Little Island, the beautiful new park over 14th Street. So I'm going to be singing a number there the week of Juneteenth. So like the 16th through the 19th in Manhattan in June. And I'm signed on to direct a zombie wedding movie, and just writing a lot of stories and painting and want to direct more. I really loved directing. I can't express to you because you get to be in it's like juggling. It's like being back on the soap opera again, where you have so much to do, and it's like, yeah, that's the bowl I need to be in.
Yes. Well, you've directed musicals. You've directed, I know, you have, and that is a whole other. That's an amazing skill set. And you talk about being able to multitask and be the leader of a team of people.
I love that. I love that. I love all of that.
Well, we are such fans. I'm rooting for you. I really do. I remember sitting in the theater with my parents, who, God bless them, they're watching, right? They'll be watching this. They came and support. Every month we went and saw a Broadway show because I was just a little theater nerd, and they embraced it. So getting to see a force of nature, someone up there like you, and then getting to talk to you tonight is really such an honor. If you want to follow you can go follow on Instagram. And everybody's homework assignment is to watch Red Pill, redpill2020.com.
And write me and write a review on all those places, Tomatoes and IMDb and Google, and I'm available to talk about it because people do have questions. Usually people have to watch it twice to get all the things, but I'm that puzzle person. So I know you go through and going to miss things, but I promise you every question is answered.
Now I'm so excited. This is going to be up my alley. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here with us. It means so much.
I appreciate you, Robert, and take care of those little children. They are the future.
Thank you. Well, Red Pill 2020, you can see it. Look at all the awards and there. Well, that was what a beautiful, lovely. Oh gosh, I keep messing it. It looked good for the interview. That is the wonderful, lovely Tanya Pinkins. She is a pleasure, isn't she? And you're right, Sam. Everything there's politics in everything, right? There's politics in everything. So Abby, cheers to you, master, as well. All right. So a couple of years ago, I was doing another show called Quarantine Cabaret and Cocktails, where we had the lovely lady. Oh my goodness, I'm going to forget her name. She was the lovely star of Trading Spaces, Paige Davis. And Paige Davis was on. And Paige Davis was wonderful. And then she introduced us to Michael Corbett. Michael Corbett came on to talk about homes, buying and selling homes. Michael Corbett became friends with me, and he's had some crazy career. And when he reached out and said, do you want to come on the Roundtable? He was like, of course I want to come on the Roundtable. So take a peek at, you talk about an interesting career. Here is Michael Corbett. Don't go anywhere. Wait till you see what he's up to.
Can you say that you know Susie walked in on us?
Kissing. Just kissing. You have to remember that.
We have been doing a lot more than kissing.
32.
And Susie isn't gonna forget it.
Sure she will. On hold. She'll forget all about it. I will move back into the apartment, and you will get your own apartment. Yeah, that was some party. But, I like it better here.
I thought you were gonna do that in the cab.
Well, I would have if we got a big one, but those little cabs, the driver's practically in the back seat with you.
You do the hard thing, 'cause that's the right thing. Yeah, that's the right thing. You're good to go.
They say the heart of any home is the kitchen, and definitely it's my favorite room in the house. But if you're looking for an award-winning kitchen that literally jumps off the pages of a top design magazine, well, I know who you need to call.
Everybody, listen, Michael Corbett has done a little bit of everything. He renovates homes, he designs homes, he produces television, he hosts television, he writes books. He's going to tell you when to buy a house. He's going to tell you how to make money buying a house. He's from New Jersey. I mean, and he's my buddy. Does it get better than that? Michael Corbett is here. Michael, you're here.
That's a really good intro.
Look, you do everything. You literally do a little bit of everything.
You know, I think what happens is if you've been in the business long enough, you kind of have an opportunity to do just about everything. I mean, people ask me, like, you know, I was on a soap opera for 17 years. Like, how can you be on a soap operas for 17 years? Like, I've been around a long time. Or, you know, Broadway in the 80s, back when I was a teenager.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, you get to do a lot of things over a long period. Somebody once gave me a really good piece of advice. They said, you like to do a lot of things. You can do everything you want. Just try to do them sequentially. Don't try to do everything all at once. Commit to one, then commit to the next, then commit to the next. And that's kind of what I followed. I've always juggled one or two things at once, but then moved on to the next thing. And it's worked out okay.
That you think I think it's worked out. You have really, that's great advice. I'm gonna have to write that down when we're done. Remember that. But I joked, you are from New Jersey.
I am. I grew up in a little town called Collingswood. I was actually born in South Philly. So I'm from South Philly, Fifth and Fitzwater Street. And then went to Collingswood High School. And so nobody knows where that is, so I just say Cherry Hill. Everybody knows Cherry Hill, exit 4.
That's it, right before you cross the bridge to go over to Philly.
Yeah.
And then you magically, and when you talk about Jersey and Philly, I love how the accent comes back because you don't have it. And then you say,
no, I don't know what it is.
Water and the Philly and the dog.
I gotta get some. I'm gonna get myself a glass of water. You know, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's a weird accent. Philadelphia, South Jersey accent is a weird accent.
Well, you magically started to go to college and then wind it up right on Broadway, like boom.
I was very, very lucky. Yes, I was at the Boston Conservatory, which was a great school for musical theater, and came to New York, and I got into my first Broadway show like the first week in New York, and then did a bunch from there, and that's where I started.
Yeah, I mean, you had a run. You did this whole run of Broadway shows, Grease and Nefertiti, and you worked with Liz Calloway and Karen Mason, and all of these. They're so sweet. I love them both very much.
Oh my God, they're both amazing.
We're so talented. You guys must have been no one's business in that show.
Because we were all young. This is all sort of one, like when we worked together, it was one of the first things. It was before Liz got Merrily We Roll Along, I think. I even auditioned for that original Merrily We Roll Along company. Didn't get it. But
it worked out for the best.
Yeah. I'm not bitter about it at all. But anyway, we were all just starting out. And Karen Mason, who has like a voice of 4, she's just got this, and both of them have these unbelievable voices, and we were kids, we were just starting out in the business. It's kind of cool.
And then you really did get plucked and put onto a soap. You were on major soap operas for years, multiple soap operas for years. How I talked to someone recently, and I was talking about Vernee Watson, who's on she's on General Hospital now, and I said to her, and she's done a lot of television through the years. She has a documentary called I Look Familiar, because she's played all these parts, but and she's now on General Hospital. And I said to her, how do you memorize the pages? How do you do a soap? There's no days off for you guys on a soap.
No.
You were
back in the day also, like originally when, most of the time soap operas were originally where you would go in, you'd rehearse the whole show in the morning, and then they film it in the afternoon. But now it's gotten harder, because now you go in and you have to film. If you have 10 scenes, you may do them all, like just show up, you get blocking, go. So you really have to, I remember nights just sitting there with dozens and dozens and dozens of pages of dialogue, and ordering Chinese food on the Upper West Side, and having food delivered. I could barely even have time to eat the Chinese food. I had to learn the lines for the next day.
Oh my goodness! Well, it's a crash course in TV. I'm do you feel like theater, the progression of your career from theater to soaps and then going on to doing a bunch of episodic television to then the hosting world and all of the things you do, has it all been kind of like leading you somewhere? Do you take a little piece of each of it and it leads you somewhere new?
It kind of has. The hosting thing sort of just fell in my lap, and it was right at a time when I thought, this is great, and I'm doing all the episodics and pilots and all that stuff, but this amazing executive producer, who is the executive producer of the TV show Extra, came to me and said, do you ever want to be a host? I said, well, I don't know. She said, good, you're hired. And they literally flew me off to Hawaii 2 days later, and I started doing all this, luxury travel around the world stuff. And I'm like, this is really kind of nice. So I fell into it, and then learned how to be a host, then also learned how to produce. And while I was there is how I learned how to become a producer, create shows, sell shows, and it kind of led one thing into the next. So yeah, they are all sequential.
Well, you have, when you were hosting, and you still host, when you were hosting, you've done every television show that you can be I think when you read about you, you've done all of the major network, ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, CNN, all of the View and all the talk shows. And then you get the steady gig at Extra, which you've been there for how long?
We're just going to say over 13 seasons. So it's over 13 seasons.
Mansions and Millionaires, which when you're for here in the New York area, it's on NBC. When it's on where you are, you'll see Michael. He's in some ridiculous house in some luxurious location. Mm-hmm. They pay you for this? Come on!
Yeah, it's crazy. I get to travel. Like this summer, we're looking at trying to do something in Portugal, trying to do something in the Maldives, and so over the next few months. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It sounds glamorous, because you're going there and you have a crew, and I'm producing and I'm hosting, and but come on, let's be honest. I'd rather be doing that there than in Bayonne, New Jersey.
Agreed.
You're not in Bayonne, are you?
No, I'm not. But
Bayonne.
No one wants to go to Bayonne, New Jersey, unless you're taking a cruise ship out of Bayonne, New Jersey.
Exactly.
And then before we talk about your executive producing, because I have so many questions. It's literally why I emailed you blindly in the hold on, before I get ahead of myself. Yeah. You're Mansions and Millionaires, but then you've become a voice in homes and in real estate. And how did that all come about? And renovating, how did that all come about?
The whole time I was on daytime TV, my passion has always been buying houses and flipping them. And it was I started it back before there was really a sort of a trend for it. And I did an HGTV show really early on. And I just really enjoyed that. So I wrote a book called Find It, Fix It, Flip It. Became a big bestseller. And it's something I've just done. I flipped, dozens of houses, and I, renovate them and flip them. And it's something I have always loved doing. And that kind of parlayed into me being some sort of a consumer expert on real estate. And I've enjoyed helping lots of people, teaching classes, as well as, doing CNN and I was a spokesman for Realtor.com for a while and Trulia for a while. So that was sort of a whole nother side thing that I was doing.
Well, if you need information about all of and to find the book, I know the links are available on your website if you want to get the books there at michaelcorbett.com. I know the last book, I think this was this the last one you Ready, Set, Sold?
Wow. Yes, I love how you throw that on the screen, like it's so professional.
It cuts half our faces off, but it's there for the visual. That's it. Right? We could that's I find it so fascinating because buying a home is probably the biggest purchase that people make in their entire life. A lot of pressure, especially if it's your first home and it's an investment that people have sometimes for years or sometimes for a very short period of time. So knowing someone who's doing it and has done it before is such a valuable tool. So
yeah, people can make a lot of mistakes. So that's why I was always trying to educate the consumer on how to best do it, and also how to then flip houses and do all that, which I would not recommend right now because the market
it's a rough market. Yeah,
it's sort of at like a hysteria level right now, and we'll see what happens.
I was talking to my friend who's been looking for years before the pandemic. Then the pandemic happened. He says, I go to an open house and I don't even go into the open house because there may be 60 people outside. And he's like, I'm not wasting my time to.
Yeah.
It's a crazy time.
Yeah.
So my partner is a humongous fan of as I totally change subjects here, but this is
because he's first me, a humongous fan of mine.
He is a huge fan of Michael Corbett. He is the biggest Ryan Hopes fan ever. And then, but we love Extra. I have to say that. And the Emmy winning Extra, I may say, Michael Corbett.
I have 2 Emmys.
2 Emmys. So take that, Mario Lopez. No, he's got them too. I'm kidding.
He's got more.
So for a long time, he's talked about, do you watch the show? Do you watch the show? And I have gone to a psychic. I mean, my mom reads tarot cards. Don't tell my little Italian Catholic grandmother because she'll get so mad. But my mom will read tarot cards. I go into her room. She's got the candle. She's got all of this. So I say to him, all right, I'm going to watch the show. So I watch a couple of episodes, and then this show comes on Netflix a new version of this show comes on Netflix where you can binge watch the whole entire season in one moment. Michael, I got sucked into the Tyler Henry experience. Right in.
I'm glad. Okay, so for those people who have no idea what we're talking about, he's a medium named Tyler Henry, and I created a show for him that I'm executive producing, and I created and then executive produced on E. I partnered with I have a great producing partner, and I have a great producing team at a company called 44 Blue, and we created the show for E Network, and it ran for 4 seasons, and it was all about him reading celebrities because it was on E, which was great, and it was like the number 2 reality series next to the Kardashians. It was a huge success for many, many years. And but we always wanted to do, I and Tyler, and we always wanted to do something that was not about celebrities, where it was for real. Tyler has a waiting list before the show aired of 300,000. Now, since the show was aired a month ago, he now has 482,000 people on his waiting list. So we wanted to pull people off the waiting list and have just drop Tyler on the doorstep of those people and surprise them in a sense. They know he's coming. He doesn't know where he's going. So it's been pretty powerful.
well, this is what I found. The show you guys did on E was fascinating because you know, you put Toya Jackson in a beekeeper suit. I don't know, like you bring Bobby Brown. You know, like you were bringing in.
She brought that suit herself, by the way. We didn't.
I would expect nothing else in her closet. It was fascinating because the other people who do these medium shows that are out there, you had your own spin on it, and it was fascinating to see people be read that we know, and him read people that we know that he doesn't know who he's talking to because he's not familiar with who he's talking to. It was fascinating. Then and here comes the flying graphic, Life After Death. There's Tyler. So I'm here in New Jersey. The show comes on. It's a Friday night. I email Michael in the middle of the night, and I literally say, I've watched half of this series. I have so many questions. And I was like, you have to, because what I loved and appreciated it so much is you guys pick such great people to be read, and you produce such beautiful television. It's really heartwarming to hear people get the validation that they're looking for. But you sneaky producer, you cliffhanger us through this whole thing. You get us tied into his personal life. There's this whole secondary story about his mother, the way his mother was raised, and his relationship with his partner, the physical bearings that this all takes on him. It was all of the behind the scenes stuff that we never get to be a part of.
Right. That was one of the things that we really wanted to do because, you know, people, like, we almost call it, like when he would go on to do Hollywood Medium with all the celebrities, it was like, let me just do my thing. And then you have no idea really who this kid is, or how real this is, or how taxing this is, or what his world is. Because I don't think, you know, people until this Netflix show, people had no idea. This is what I call him, the kid. He's now 26. But this is what Tyler does. His life's work is reading people, and when he's not doing that, he has a very sort of closed life, and he's with his family, his mom and dad, and his partner, and it's very taxing on him. So we really tried to show like what goes on in his life, and then the whole storyline it was all real. Before we started filming the show, Tyler's mom came to us and said, "You're not going to believe what we just discovered. That this was, you know, my mother is not my mother. I'm not quite sure who my real mother, I'm not really quite sure who my real mother is, but I know that the woman who I think is my mother is not my mother, who Tyler's grandmother is not." It was just, we were all like, what the hell? And said, would you be okay if we help you explore it and we follow it? And that's exactly what we did. So it unfolded as much for us as it did for them. I mean, we'd be shooting. There was a scene, you probably remember this. There was a scene where Tyler goes to see his aunt and uncle. And I'm, you know, on the other end of the cameras, and I'm back in LA, and they're in New Orleans, I think it was. They're in New Orleans, and we watch through the lens, like, you know, with new technology, we can watch it through the lens. So I'm sitting there watching the camera moves, and I'm, you know, giving notes, and Tyler walks up and says, "Oh, hi," and the camera cuts to them, and they're African American. And I went, "What's?" I picked up my phone. I was like, "What's happening? What is happening?" Because there's things that we didn't know, and things were just unfolding as they were happening. So it was pretty amazing to be working on it.
Well, Michael, that was my reaction, and we were sitting here, and I was like, what is this story? And the first episode, you will be hooked, and you will watch them all in succession too, because it ends and you're like, what? Wait, well, I'm trying not to spoil alert this whole season, but it is its own crazy story. And not to give more spoilers, but you literally, I know he has gotten a lot of, whenever someone talks about something like this, there's the people who really believe it, and there are people who automatically say negative, nasty things about it, and that's part of the business. But there's some things that he reveals, and you talk about show me the receipts. there within 24 hours, there's major things that happen that you have to watch through this.
Here's the thing that I'm really proud of, and our whole team is really proud of, is that we are very buttoned up as far as the production goes. Tyler never knows where he's going, never knows who he's going to read. He knows nothing. And of course, skeptics will always say, oh, he knew who he's going to read. They're feeding him information in his ear. No, we don't. We just plop him on the doorstep and we roll the cameras. And that's really how it, because, and even in as I'm sure you watched in the show, even as he's being driven to someplace, he's already starting to get feelings about the people that he's about to meet, who he doesn't know who they are. So it's pretty remarkable. And we also, because we do his live show, when you come to see a live show, you really get it, because it's 2,000 people in a theater, and he doesn't know who's there, and he just starts, seeing images and connecting them to people and does readings, and there's no way he could know who these people are. So it's pretty remarkable. It has changed how I think about mediums, life after death, all that sort of thing. It's really changed my perspective.
Sure. I mean, I'm not even involved, and I watch it now, and you start to think and question, and it is done in such a classy, non-salacious way. It really is helpful. You guys really find people who really need that help, and it's so nice to see him able to give it. And it doesn't feel like you guys do such great television, because it's not exploitive. There's nothing negative. It's really hard after the hour's over. It's nice to think that there's somewhere else, and that there's people there watching us. It's a beautiful. Yeah. How did this start? How did you find him? Where did this idea come from? Like, what is the backstory?
The backstory is I was at a Christmas party 7-8 years ago, I guess it is now. And somebody came, it was a Christmas party here in LA. And this guy that I knew came up to me and said, hey, there's a kid here from this farm up in Hanford. And he's bullied and beaten and beat up in high school. And, and my wheels are clicking, thinking, because he said, you might want to meet this kid, meaning for television. And I thought, oh, so he was sort of, bullied in high school. Maybe there's a story there. And he said, oh, by the way, he talks to the dead. And then, okay. So this little kid comes up, and I said, hi. So I understand you talk to the dead. This is at a Christmas party. He went, mm-hmm. I said, well, he said, do you want me to read you? And I said, yeah. So I booked an appointment with him the next day while he was down here in LA. And he came over and he read me, and he told me things that no one could ever know. And I was testing. I said, do you mind if I test you? And I'd throw out a name, and he would know who that person was, exactly how that person died, whether it was an accident, whether it was a suicide. He knew all this stuff. So at the end of it, I called my producing partner, and I said, we have to sign this kid and create a show for it. And we did. We signed him like 2 days later, and we started shooting things in my living room. We brought over friends, and we went, I know this is going to sound weird, but can you just come over and sit with this kid and let him read you? And I'm like, what? And we shot what's called a sizzle reel in the business. Even at the end of the day, the crew came to me and said, come on, are you in the other room feeding him information? We're like, no, this kid is really doing this. So we did it. We brought it around to we had offers from multiple networks immediately and sold it right away. Boom. And that's how it happened.
And now to find it to be on streaming and to be and partner with Netflix and to be able to put it out like this, even, Easy gigantic network, but this is everywhere. People are watching it, and every continent everywhere. And wow, the response, I know I was hooked. I literally could, I reached out I'm not lying. It was the middle of the night. Yeah. I was so hooked, and it was such well done, beautiful television from the television standpoint. The way your camera crew and you and everyone and whoever's directing these episodes, like, it's beautiful to watch. It's in beautiful locations in California, and it's a beautiful story. Wow. went to bed. This is how good this show was, everyone. I went to bed that night. There's a scene where he like sits in a dark room in his garage that he built.
Yeah.
And he sits in the silence, in the darkness, so he sees visions and people come. And I went to bed like, listen, Jesus, Mary, my grandmother, no one come here. Good. I don't want to. Nope. Nope. I'm okay. But that's what you're getting, that inside look that you never see when you see other shows. It's on this. It's the behind the scenes plus the readings and all the stories.
Well, the one thing thank you for watching the whole thing, because you know how Netflix works is they judge a show. Like with our show, we're finding people will watch a couple of episodes, like, woo, that's a lot, and then they come back the next week, they watch 2 more episodes and then 2 more episodes. But the network actually, they like to see people finish the season. So if you haven't finished, anyone watching, if you haven't finished the season, finish it right away, because it's always, that makes it looks good for us. So, you know, don't like, oh no, I'm going to save it for Christmas. No, don't save it. So, you know, do it now.
No. Find out now. So the next season we could figure out what the rest of the story is, because I need to know, Michael. I can't be left hanging anymore. You've left us all.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff that, you know, one of the things that we wanted to do, and it's something we will probably for sure explore, is we want to bring him to a university that actually does scientific testing and have them just test him and figure out why this is happening, how it's happening, like really, you know, put him in a deprivation tank and have him be reading people, like really, really figuring out where this gift comes from.
It's everyone just go to Netflix, stream the entire series. This weekend you can just sit down and watch the whole thing from beginning to end, and he's doing okay. Have a glass of wine. Exactly. Be ready. Be prepared. When it's over, you'll also be saying, "Don't come visit me, anyone. I'm okay." Or bring. Is he doing okay? I know it, and she shows, especially at the end, the physical limitation. It's a toll on him, emotional and physical toll on him. But he does okay. He's all right.
Yeah, he took. We made sure that he had like 4 months from when we finished filming, 4 months off to just recoup. And now he's back out on the road. We're doing these amazing sellout shows. We have 2 shows on Broadway coming up in August. They're already sold out. You know, maybe if you know somebody, you might get a ticket. But yeah, he's at the Palladium for 2 nights. I mean, it's just, he's sold out all across the country. It's crazy. So it's yeah, he's doing great. He's doing good.
Well, everyone, firstly, if you want more about Michael Corbett, then you go to michaelcorbett.com. And if you want to follow Michael, you can just go to @MichaelCorbettTV on Instagram.
That's right. I should take it. Wait, hold on. I'm going to take a picture.
If you're looking to buy a house,
hold on. I'm photographing us. Hold on. Smile. That's very cute. Okay.
And you go to Michael Corbett TV, and you can watch him on Extra, Mansion of Millionaires. You can watch the Tyler Show. You can buy his book, so you can buy a house and make lots of money. You can buy another house and make more money. And you know, I have to say this about me and you. We met doing my show with Lee Lessick, which was called Quarantine Cabaret and Cocktails. You came on the show twice, I believe, or once, twice, something. And then out of the goodness of your heart, this is why I have to say, firstly, it's easy to have you on because you're a star and you have quite the career. Secondly, out of all of the people out of all the people in show business that are in this business, you meet lots of people. They say they're going to see you. They say they're going to support you, and then they disappear. It's like fair weather friends. This gentleman right here not only brought his friends to my LA show, but he was so sweet and so supportive. I will do anything I can to help you, Michael, because that's a rare trait and thing. So from the bottom of my heart, there's people who I've known forever who don't show up and show as much support as you did. So that means a real lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm happy to do that and happy to be there.
Thank you. And same. So I'm going to just keep talking to everyone I know about your shows and tell them watching. And my show is your show. So anytime you have something to say or something to talk about,
great.
Come back to Jersey. I'm right here in Bergen County.
Fabulous. Anytime I can have a Jersey connection, I'm happy.
Done. It's done.
Okay. Done.
You're the
That's
best.
Done.
Thank you so much.
Okay. You're very welcome.
Make sure you're watching Life After Death with Tyler Henry. We got to talk to Michael a couple of days ago. He's a busy guy, so we couldn't be here live, but we got to speak to him. I feel like Cher. It's like 3 costume changes. I had the first outfit on, and then I was cold. So I put this on. I look like I'm in Minecraft. And then Michael Corbett was in another outfit because he talked to me earlier this week. What a nice guy. Isn't he the best? You need to watch the show. I said it 50 times, but the show's good. I love a medium. I don't care if you believe it or not. I love it. It's fascinating what happens to us. You know, we never know. Anyway, next week, brand new show. Michael Feinstein will be here live. You're not going to want to miss it. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. I don't know him. And my buddy Melissa Manchester, who growing up we loved her so much in my house. I'm really excited about next week's show, and then also all of Month of Pride with Ruth Wainwright, Angelica Ross, and all of those great, amazing people. From me to you, thank you so much for being here. To my new friends who are here that are here because they may have loved the soaps or Michael or Tanya, like Chad, welcome to the show. I hope you come back next week. We're here every Thursday at 7:00. My name's Robert Bannon. I appreciate you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care of each other. God bless you. See you then. Bye-bye, everybody.